for now.
That is as much as I'm going to leak, because that's yeah.
It's Saros. That's the first big thing about this patch. He's really cool. I like him. I hear a lot of positive stuff about this kit. It's really cool.
Same, nice.
Only thing, holy buggy. He's very buggy.
We did fix a couple of bugs, but if there's any that are top of the list, let me know, because he's not the easiest guy to fix bugs for. So yeah.
I think the main thing, like personally, people can also say what they also feel, is like, for example, I would love to be able to shoot through the portal, but I feel like there's super niche angle I need to find on the portal to be able to shoot through it, and it's very like not consistent at all.
Interesting. I got some feedback where it's like, oh, I wasn't even intending to shoot, but because it eats everything that comes through. Like Zeph's ult. I saw a video of Zeph's ult. I think it was like Kizaru who was like showing how it like goes to the portal even though he wasn't intending it to. But yeah, if you have any clips of that, I'll take them actually.
Yeah, so there's like, I think main thing with us is just like all the portal stuff. I think there's so many cool things that people want to do with the portal, but there's not consistently. I had some fun moments as well, you know, like I got knocked by a soul boss by the you know, the charge coming out of the boss, going into my portal and then curving onto me and me dying. So that was pretty funny. So that worked at least.
That's amazing. I haven't even seen that yet. Oh my gosh. That is legendary.
But yeah,
we gotta keep stuff like that.
Yeah, but as people also are saying, like going through it also like buggy, sometimes you just get sent back and glitching through it, getting stuck and stuff. But I think he's a really cool hunter. I love Saros. I think he's cool. The only thing is like just a lot of bugs around his ultimate, which I feel a lot of people are feeling frustrating about him.
Okay, so I'm gonna focus on shooting through portal ult, and then I'll focus on walking through portal ult.
Yeah,
and we have a bunch of those bugs captured, but I'll focus in that order. Okay.
Yeah. Sick. See what people. His dash doesn't work with a big specialist still.
I actually did. I literally read that bug today. I see. I think we might be able to fix that one like soon.
Wait, let me make this even more professional. Let me get chat on this stream here.
Yeah, we did note that. I'm gonna see if we can get it in for branch cut. We'll see. But yeah, I'm aware of that one.
Yeah, so his ult doesn't reset on team wipe. What's he saying?
Oh. I want to just integrate a fix for that one too. Okay, perfect. These are the ones I'm looking for. Thank you.
Wait, did my chat thing bug now? Or is it working? I'll figure it out. That's all good. But yeah, good. Like I am. So like from Saros, the whole thing, I'm just waiting for Support Hunter. Like April, I'm like locked in for April. I can't wait. Please let me get into playtest the new Hunter. Like I wanna try that.
I think we're talking about some plans to get some early looks into it, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be exciting. Next thing, Grandmaster plus pre-made restriction. As usual, you can't make everybody happy. You know, some people again being sad that you cannot play with your friends again, but majority from what I'm seeing is really happy about the change. I guess what I want to link to this that other people are asking about as well, like we'll get more into trios, but have you guys already laid how the restriction will work for trios when that comes in April?
Yeah, I think we'll do like a whole breakdown of trios, I think. So I was recording some
we can get back to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think just to say it, I'll take all opinions on how you'd ideally want to see it, because this is the right time. So yeah.
Yeah, we get like I have a whole bulk on questions that people have from Trio, so I can get back on Trio specifics.
Okay, cool.
But game structure, ally recall, but also like adding in the new bonfire stuff. Yep. I like the recall thing, the ally recall. Like personally, I don't mind. I don't see use for it. I see some people like it, some people don't like it. Seem like fairly split overall. The new thing also with being able to recall the base camp, main note there is need an indicator from when you're doing it, because you can kidnap people on the base camps. That's like main thing on that I'm hearing. That happened to me as well, getting kidnapped by a base camp.
We got a new unique visual for when it's about to go, because right now it looks like exactly like someone recalling back to the base. So we did change that too. So agree. Agree. Yeah, I think for ally recall, what we talked about was just generally like, can we give more tools to group up, because people have some like that's a common thing where it's just like, where's my team member? Like, can I get back to them? And so yeah, I think it's interesting to see how it. Honestly, some of the callouts I got was primarily it working fine in squads and it kind of breaking down in duos. But with the trios news, I kind of wanted to be like, well, you know, things are changing. So, but yeah, grouping was one of the reasons why we were talking through this and the recaller.
It is interesting though, because a lot of people with this kind of change also started splitting more, because it's so easy to just run away one place, like farm a bunch, get stuff, and then instantly get back to the teammates. So it also makes for splitting being more prevalent, at least in the higher MMR lobbies, which I see a lot.
Interesting.
So like if I'm playing with my duo, like, oh, okay, I will split off now, I'll run off, get a lot of resources, and I can just recall back to you.
Huh.
So that's also a thing happening with the recall.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I feel like I'm kind of like cheating the system. Like I'm just running into whatever I want, Narnia. Like I'm just splitting off into whatever I want.
It doesn't matter where you are, because you can always come back.
I can just always come back. Yeah. So while it's a good intention with wanting people to recall to each other, it's also just very much used to splitting off and getting resources.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's it's interesting. There's some future changes that I'm interested in pairing with it. That would make that less free, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
But well, what's the mechanic around it?
I can't say yet. Mostly because well, I'll say we'll probably want to test this.
Okay.
But so we'll talk about it soon. It's not even going to be in the next Fireside chat, because we're literally testing it right now, and it's pretty experimental. But yeah, I would say right now it seems pretty easy for people to get anywhere they want to, and putting a cost on that, I think, is good. And that's all I can really say about it.
More money. It costs money.
We will talk about it soon. Yeah, I'm excited.
On the note of Fireside chat, when is the next one coming out?
It's gonna come out with the next Hunter patch.
So
I think
2nd of April, like with the TRIOS.
It'll be probably It'll be sooner than that, I think, because we'll want to like preempt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's for that patch.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll try to get some new leaks out of you with that. We'll get back to that later.
Oh, you can't get it out of me. Well, yeah, maybe.
Leveling adjustment. So now you guys are going a lot more back on the experience, where it's kind of back to square one, where you technically can get level 7, or like, for example, like day 1 of farming, but it's basically impossible. So we're back on like so like going to academy, get that, or you kill the night 1 boss, or with PvP. So I feel a lot of frustration that I'm hearing from other people is that day 1 is back to, if you ever meet a level 7 team, you kind of just have to back off and like respect that. And there's not enough ways of getting level 7. You kind of like lucky with getting some kills, or you have to wait for Ghost to appear. So you're kind of just stuck in that moment, unless you drop academy or some stuff like that. That's what I'm hearing in general, at least.
I've gotten split opinions on that. So yeah, like kind of similar to OC in this note, but like, yeah, that's interesting. I I kind of want to soak on it because of that, in terms of viability of getting 7. But yeah, I do think. So you're saying, I guess like there are differing opinions also on how free level 7 should be.
Yeah,
I'll also
for
say
sure,
that.
for sure.
Right? Some people are like, hey, when it's too free, it really feels like you're kind of circumventing your power progression, and there isn't really a trade-off, and you can kind of just, roll into fights. And other people are like, and because of that, we got a lot of requests too for like, oh, there shouldn't be even XP books. Like I think there's somewhere in the middle there where it's like being able to optimize it sounds good, but it being free is probably bad. So that's where we ended up. But yeah, heard. I think at least for this, the nice thing is that we don't have like the level cap isn't presented in its like old form where it's like level caps exist. Why? And it's like people don't really understand why the number is just fixed for a while. So at least the rule is gone. But it should still be sort of that midpoint of like, hey, if you want to get that level 7, you do have to earn it, but it's not impossible. Yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Have you guys thought about like potentially bringing it like up a notch? Like if there's like, I don't know what kind of numbers you guys have on what people think, but making it like slightly more XP so you have a more clear PvE versus PvP route on getting those type of stuff, or if you guys seem very like happy with the current ways of getting level 7, or like the early farming at least.
Tell me more. Like, so what are you imagining right now?
So for I don't know what this says. You'll earn 20% of the XP when you reach the cap. So like if you have that percentage, it's less. So it's like slightly easier to get XP. So not
because when you a little bit more.
Yeah. So like when the level cap got removed, it instantly became a farming meta because it was way easy to get it, but like just a slight balance tweak potentially.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it's diminishing returns. We can make it less diminishing returns. I don't think we're allergic to that. I think we want to be a little bit careful, but yeah, like
yeah, for sure.
I think that's totally within reason. Yeah, I'll make a note of it. I think for what it's worth, like where are you on it?
Personally, I think in ranked games, level 7 is kind of easy to get, but mostly because I'm playing duo queue and then being able to get kills, catches because of how different the MMR band is, so it kind of like snowballing games anyway. So I have a very flawed view on it. In the competitive,
you're just too good, man.
No, like for respect, like I don't want to push my opinion on it because I don't think I have a good. I don't think I have a good.
Saying,
yeah, exactly. So I think like from my competitive aspect, I think there's a lot more catches and stuff happening. Like if you get academy, you need to just move away from academy. You cannot be near there. Level 7 teams, you just gotta respect it. If you are on the opposite side of the map, you have options of being able to look for catches, kills to get level 7, but the problem is that there's like too many teams to take the XP away, and you cannot do like the solo farming things as you can do in ranked. In ranked, it's easier to split off, get farm, and you can potentially play it. In competitive, like people quickly get their area of XP, and then you kind of just stuck waiting for the next objective to happen.
The environments are different. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I also wonder how it will be for trios, because there's going to be 12 teams. So like the amount of farm just being disappeared might be even worse for trios potentially. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I'll try to be clear when I'm speaking from the notes I'm getting from community and my personal opinions.
No, you're good. I appreciate that actually. Cool. Sounds good.
Nice. Shop and equipment. Nice. I think a lot of people are liking in general, like a little bit easier to get the items. It seems fair. Also different.
This was like a common request too.
Yeah, so I haven't heard any complaints from my side at least on this, so this seemed like pretty good overall. Nice.
Cool.
Combat. Health dash knock on reset. So now it tuned it down. I hear very split opinions on this. I thought
Same.
I thought it was gonna be worse. Personally, I don't like it. But the reason why I don't like it, so like I'm hearing a lot of split opinions. Some people like it because of like the carry potential. I don't like it because of the reasons you guys said it for what it's gonna help. So you're saying it's gonna help, being able to 1v9 and play more against enemies and not like too snowbally. How I've been feeling it in ranked is if I'm playing with, some random teammates, me and my duo, but if one of those teammates die, the enemy that kills it will just get everything back, and I don't have a room to punish that mistake happening. So if you're the first team to get a kill, it kind of snowballs the effect of winning harder. But sure, you have like slightly better chance of playing in a 1vx scenario. But now you end up in 1vx scenarios often because people win fights harder, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I think it's like, where, in what cases are you feeling doomed, and which side of it are you on? And like, I think for sure also part of the trios feeling or like the test that we've been having with trios is like the 1v4 has always felt pretty painful. And so I think even seeing how trios feels has been refreshing in that way internally. Even like not even thinking about the heal dash knock reset. So it does. I think how we think about that rule will evolve over time, even because of the trios change. So yeah, it's good to hear experientially how you're running into it actually.
Yeah. So I'm curious. Like, I again didn't play super many games today. We got a little taste of trios, but like, yeah, my personal opinion, I don't like it. I hear a lot of split opinions. Some people that really like it, some people like I'm indifferent, and some people that really hate it. So it's very mixed feelings on it. Wow, cool balance. Guys love Bebo.
Let's do it.
He keeps on getting buffed.
I think the thing with Bebo is the tough thing about Bebo is I think the different levers that we thought would help all players, not all of them help all players, like lower MMR players especially, like average, I would say average level players. And so we're also learning over time which skill checks actually need more of a boost. I'm actually of the opinion that we probably need to pull back on the bomb and probably give him some love on the other abilities, because the people who can aim the bomb are like higher skill players, and the people who aren't, like, they're just gonna miss their bomb every time. And so yeah, we were talking about that a bunch today. But yeah, people still be struggling on the common man is definitely still struggling on Bebo, so that's why we're
he's a hard hunter for sure. It's a hard hunter for sure, but it's fun. Love Bebo still. The bomb do be going pretty hard. Celeste nerf seems fair. I get what you guys are doing, because like, why would you ever sit on the full duration kind of thing with Celeste ult? So it's like giving options is basically a nerf, but giving more options to maybe play around it. And also shout out Lemur, with the Sky Tech, where you just instantly hit people pretty easily. So I think it's a fair thing, and seems like a lot of people, from what I'm hearing, seems it's a fair nerf to Celeste. She's still good and still happy there, from what I'm hearing at least.
Cool. Yeah. I didn't read anything about this, or I didn't read too much. So yeah, that's good to hear.
Luna, that's a fun new shift. Hawaii, people are happy. Like, cool.
Nice.
It's a cool new level 4 shift that just gives more options. I wonder, from your guys' stats, is this like broken in low elo, or how is it looking?
Dude, I'm gonna be totally honest.
This might be too good, but let's see. So I'm like curious to see.
I'm so surprised. I'm not surprised, but like it has been consistently true that like Aluna has been strong. Like behind the scenes when we look at Aluna, she's strong at all elos, and like the discussion though, I'm sure you've seen it, yeah. And you feel it, in scrims too. Like, I don't know, man. Like, people be saying Aluna's still weak compared to the to the other options. So I'm like, I guess we'll keep giving her stuff until and it's that. This is why we also try not to just like focus on the numbers, because also it requires perception, and And so that's why we're trying to give her a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. How is it feeling strong? Is she feeling too strong right now?
I still don't see a Luna. There's like maybe like one player that plays Luna. I don't. So I'm more curious on like on the bottom end if
she's definitely strong at all levels. Yeah, including bottom. So, but I mean, she's in some ways it's good because she's very popular, and so people do like picking her up, and she's a great character to just like learn the game. And so I think that that's not necessarily a bad thing either. And and actually this patch, she's everyone actually is like pretty in line, including her, even though she's on the strong end. So not bad.
Seems good. Ghost. Yeah. I haven't heard too much from Ghost people. Like they seem happy. I haven't heard any angry Ghost mains. So unless there is any angry Ghost mains in the chat, they can like step up. But I haven't heard of things. Seems fine. People seem happy about Ghost overall, from what I'm hearing at least. So seems good. Yeah, people are agreeing. He's good.
Ghost is probably the strongest right now.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. But does that mean he will be getting nerfed next patch then? And people should be.
Let's move on. Not much.
Yeah. Hudson, interesting change. I can start with saying I did get the body slam by Hudson into Kobayashi Heart, and I will remember that for the rest of my life. That did happen. Respect to that guy who did that. But yeah, Hudson incredible. Is still Hudson. I don't see too much Hudson. I do see more Hudson than before. I think he's like totally fine. He struggles being that type of a hunter in a fast-paced ranked environment, so I think he just still will struggle. But I see him and it seems like people seem fairly okay with him. But also, have you heard about the Hudson dash bug on bushes?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so that's noted. Good.
Don't mention it in stream. Don't expose it.
That's why I'm just saying that I gave too much details, but you guys know, so good.
I'm aware. Yeah, I actually need to follow up on it after this.
Yeah. Jewel. Well, nobody's playing Jewel anymore. At least from what I'm seeing, and the people that do play Jewel doesn't play anything else, and they just like live in their bubble, saying like it's fine, I can make it work.
Rest in peace, Jewel. Yeah. Rest in peace, Jewel.
I'm personally surprised by the way you've been going about Jewel in general with like nerfs and buffs. I always thought that if you just nerf the damage ratio on the shift, it'll help a lot, but like you kind of like shifting how some of her mechanics been moving, like her RMB change, now shift change, removing the incorporeal and etc. Do you think she will still be fine in like the lower mid MMR just because of her damage potential, since you guys never hit her numbers? But a lot of Jewels will now struggle a lot more in higher MMR because it's just so easy to cancel her out and play her around shifts.
Yeah, I mean, I think the broader conversation was this whole like incorporeal, how does incorporeal work in the game, and how do we want it to work in the future, and is it just always going to be kind of frustrating? And I think that's been probably the biggest topic of conversation in a bunch of ways. It's just like how squirrely she gets, and if we were to leverage that keyword again, like it would just mean more of the roster is that much squirrelier. So yeah, I think that was more of the discussion, is like, where do we want to take the game given this kind of aspect of it. So that being said, like obviously that affects Jewel first and foremost, and so like we've been talking about like what's the best way forward. I think we have, I don't want to promise anything specific right now because we're trying a couple of different things, but yeah, we've been doing some experiments on her design to make her feel more like herself. But I think I'll stop there. But yeah, I see the Jewel mains. I appreciate the Jewel mains. And I get it. This is probably the the biggest pain point right now. So.
But good notes. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Shrike is still Shrike. Niche buff, but Shrike still struggles hitting her LMBs. Probably still doing very well in the lower mid MMRs, but same with Aluna's. Most people that I talk with saying is, the higher up you get, Shrike and Aluna just struggles more, but it's a funny buff, doesn't really do much, but yeah, Shrike is still Shrike.
I'm gonna keep telling the design crew that they try, they keep trying, and it's tough. It's like the same thing of like, can we give them something?
Is it that they want Shrike to be available more widely, or?
I think it's been a request from players for a long time to like be able to have that full mastery curve, like being able to main Shrike and continue maining Shrike as you get better at the game is like, I think, definitely reasonable to ask for, and so I think we were trying to find ways to like support that more, but like it's not easy given like like you were saying, like we've tried a couple of different tacks, and I to your point, it hasn't changed either Luna or Shrike's being part of the high level meta. So there has been some crazier suggestions around her range, but I'm nervous given low MMR players what extra range or utilizing extra range would do. But we have talked about that space a little bit more with Shrike.
Well, on that topic, is it like an idea for you guys to want every hunter to be accessible in all levels of play, or is it more like you kind of accept that some hunters might just be really good for beginners, new play, some might be really good for the higher MMRs, or is it a goal to make everything acceptable for most MMR bands?
I think it'd be great if they were generally viable at I mean, that's like the dream, but I don't think it's possible. Like it's possible for everyone to be equal levels of viable. Like I would say it's not a goal, especially for the higher mastery hunters, to be viable at all MMRs, especially on lower MMRs. Like we talked a lot about this with Brawl, where it's like, hey, like it's actually totally fine if people struggle with Brawl in lower MMRs. That's actually totally fine. We would rather have those skill checks be more earned, and that's okay. And so I think from that perspective, there are like a couple of instances where we'll probably lean more into that. We won't do that for most of the roster, but yeah, I think for the higher mastery curve hunters, we would be totally okay with that. I think also on the bottom end too, like Aluna's exactly kind of like that. I would love to see more of her, just because I think a lot of people love watching Aluna, but I think it's actually more important that she serves the role she's in. Same with Shrike, so yeah.
That seems fair. Appreciate the insights.
Yeah.
Over to items. Here got some spicy notes. You got some changes to now Abyss Specialist, Horror Wings, Gladiolets are now legendary. Do you guys know about or like, is it a bug or is it intended that gold powers are available in the shops?
It is not a bug, but my understanding is their availability might be higher than usual.
I see, because I think from what I'm hearing at least is that people don't like gold powers and better being available in shops. It kind of skews the game. We had scenarios, for example, with Hover Wings now in the recent tournament, where in an end circle there is like 12 Hover Wings.
Everyone had Hover Wings. Yeah. I heard about this.
Yeah. And there's also then questions leading into that with thoughts around the Hover Wings interaction, where a lot of people feel frustration about no counterplay to it, how high up you can go and the way you move it, especially together with Bishop, and the thought around removing interactions versus nerfing interactions, because people are calling to, you can nerf it like this, and some people like, can we just remove this interaction because it feels unhealthy?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to Leech about this because he was a original defender of the Hoverwings Bishop interaction, and every day he was saying, every day I feel less and less inclined to defend it. So I think that one, I think we might be on the same page on now. For the Hoverwings availability thing, I'm like, yeah, I think we've talked about whether or not we should adjust the store availability and in what ways. We've also been talking about vaults too and vault powers. And should we make vaults like is there like a 2-for-1 thing that we can do where we make vaults more valuable and then but like less guaranteed and pull some of the stuff from the shops? So I think that's kind of probably where my head goes. That was like the most recent conversation I had, but yeah, we'll probably decide that like next week what we want to do next.
Train of thought I just thought about now since you mentioned vault. Like, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I'm just shooting from the hip. What if with opening multiple vaults as a team, you have a chance of getting a higher rarity power in a vault? Say you open like 3 vaults as a team, like, okay, on the 3rd vault you can get like a random gold power. So like you given like, okay, sometimes you might just want to go for that one vault you find good, but like, oh, do you want to go the route of trying to get more vaults?
That's cool.
Might become like a speedrun thing where people drop to that, but like it kind of gives more options potentially, just shooting from the hip.
Yeah. That's we had a similar conversation talking to Lemur and Jay about this a little bit too, where like it's like, yeah, how do you like almost juice the vault? Like, could you juice the vault over time or something like that? Because like if you have the vaults have super valuable things from the beginning, like maybe that kind of undercuts your power progression too, but like, and it feels less earned. But if you can like kind of upgrade in this way or like upgrade in a different way, like maybe I think I've seen like a player request before where someone was brainstorming like, oh, what if like if you don't crack a vault and it like still survives the next day, it like upgrades its contents and things like that. So it's like similar. I think there's like a lot of similar thinking in that space. So yeah, that's cool. I think Rather would do something like this so that it's not as guaranteed, maybe, and then also so that like you can't just undercut it day one, and then I think the last thing is we were talking about biome bosses a little bit. I think someone was mentioning in the chat. I think power availability. I've been hearing a couple of comments around like, hey, power availability feels a little low. Can we communicate where to get those powers or kind of bring some of the powers back in? So yeah, that's all kind of related. We'll probably take a look at that.
But yeah, also on the note, with interaction stuff, there's a lot of frustration around, blink mechanics. The first topic, of course, being KP. Now it being with Bibo being able to alt blink. A lot of frustration about like not being able to interact. That happen and just insta die when the bomb is on it. How do you guys stand on power, like abilities being able to be cast while blinking and etc. And a lot of frustration around blink currently, at least.
I mean, some of the I see a lot of people use blink and get a lot of like joy out of it in combat. So it's tough. It's tough for me to want to take that toy away, but I hear a lot of the play against problems too. And so I have seen some suggestions around like, hey, should it just like not work in combat at all? I do think when we've actually done that in the past, and it's been confusing for people because they're used to like League equivalent of just being able to use it whenever, and so then like it can become like kind of inaccessible or hard to understand. Like, when do I have access to this thing? Like, League actually ran into the same problem where like Hex Flash was like, it was really tough for the average person to use, and so oftentimes people just don't like using it. So, I mean, like, there's like, I don't know, there's like an intuitiveness / like player expectation that's like riding up against like what is good for like counterplay that I want to be aware of. But I would at least want to like look at the Bibo Blinkle problem, at least like the ones that are like super egregious, and then consider what we might want to do about it. I know people mention like there are tons of combat exceptions, but I think you guys have seen that like over time we've tried to like start pulling back on combat exceptions, like the glider dash stuff and things like that. So yeah, in my mind, I would want to be pretty sparing about this, but I have seen the Bebo Blink thing, so we'll take a look.
Yeah, so it's like probably one of the biggest frustration moments right now, Bebo Blink. But then again, if you do fix it, remove it by some things, then the next one is gonna go back into like KP Blink, uninteractable, how to like solve things around that. Like if it's like, okay, does Blink just need a rework? Is it just too unhealthy of a power? Because the amount of counterplay is really hard, and the better people get at the game, the more and more frustrating it's going to become for other people as well. Like right now it's mostly the higher MMR players, but then again, the amount of higher MMR players with lower MMR players in lobbies means that I also feel that frustration very early on.
Right. And I do think being able to split ranked will actually help with that some. But yeah, I also understand that. I mean, Kingpin Blink, I mean, where do you... Maybe I shouldn't be asking the Kingpin player. We talked about this a little bit. And like, but would you miss it?
I think there's a lot of cool tech you could do with Kingpin. I personally wouldn't miss it if it helps like the overall people's enjoyment, because like I can enjoy doing it because it's broken, but I can also realize that it's unhealthy the way people can't react to it. There's like no counterplay. The same with Bebo alt Blink, where you like as long as there is counterplay to it, then you can do something about it. I think a lot of people are a lot more happy, for example, with Invis now, that Elixir, which is the next topic anyway, you know, Elixir Vision, a lot of positive that you can actually counter it. You have something you can buy to do something about it, but I think the Blink specifically interaction is frustrating a lot because of no way of getting counter to it. There's nothing to do. It just happens.
I'm looking at some of the callouts. Maybe not midcast. Yeah, I
can still cook with Kingpin. You know, I had my fishing rod, hook into a boost dunks.
There's a lot of joy. Yeah. I think at least for Bebo Blink, we'll take a look at it. I think Blink is, I've gotten so many split opinions on Blink, on whether it feels like you can respond to it or not, or how much of the joy are you taking out of it. And so I do want to be careful about that. But yeah, noted. I think the midcast is interesting. At least want to take that note down.
Yeah, moves into elixirs. People are really happy with elixirs. Good mini rework. Elixirs, a lot cooler. I think like the most used one is Elixir of Vision. Mana and health is like still very undervalued, but I think there's a cool way to play around elixirs where you can bring in a lot more creativity and potential stuff. So it's a good direction at least.
Nice. Yeah, this was like based off of our last conversation around elixirs not having that much value. So we actually were talking through that and we're just like, okay, let's do the pass, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. Maybe add more elixirs, more shit, throw it out.
Also, more elixirs? Okay.
I think so, yeah. Like elixirs in niches, for example, like Elixir Vision, like one game you might not buy a single Elixir Vision. Oh, we saw somebody have a delicate disguise, you buy it a lot more. Like it gives different scenarios and like playmaking tools.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys talk about different elixirs that you want to see?
I haven't thought about it myself. If anybody has any like wild ideas, they can shoot up. But I like it in general.
Nice. Cool.
All right, monsters. Yeah, you kind of like one of the questions that got around monsters you kind of already answered, but what is the thought process around, you know, removing the powers from the monsters, bosses in general, an idea of like allocating more resources through like simpler, more easy powers? Because what people really liked, what I got feedback from, is that you have these powers that are kind of linked to areas, and it kind of gives some skill expression to remembering where powers are. If you want to play for like a specific thing, you know where you can potentially get it, and people really enjoy that mini game kind of thing with powers. Still hear frustration about, you know, the power level in which you get throughout the match. Like, for example, there's still what is it called, exotics on day 1 bosses, being able to get a red power instantly, and then also removing lower tiers powers from biome bosses now.
Yeah, so I think we'll probably bring back some of the power availability in a different form. That's what we're talking about right now, because it feels like it's a little low. I tend to agree, actually, that like the map feels like it can feel a little bit more like you can get generally like the same kinds of things now. I did get a lot of feedback around biome bosses just not being easy to really understand or learn as a player picking up the game, and even like putting a lot of hours into it is just like, is this something that like I'm actually playing around, or am I just getting the biome boss that like is around this area after I wipe the camps? And so I got like a surprising amount of like, hey, can we rethink this? So that whatever method you use to acquire powers specific to a biome, like having that distribution be like easier to understand, or like clearer representation of the power reward itself. And so I like, that's why we're talking about vaults more and talking about like other distribution methods where maybe we can communicate it on the vault itself, or maybe we can communicate it either with like or even with like adjustments to the creeps themselves. So anyways, yeah, I think we'll bring it back, but in some way that is just clear what the reward is and what you need to do to actually spawn those things. Because I think that was also something that I got a fair bit of feedback of, like, average player is not running into this rule at all, or understands like you're supposed to be clearing these camps. And because of that, like having like just a more universal reward where it's just like, hey, as you clear camps, you get more of the thing at the end that you can kind of leverage for purchasing and progressing your equipment, was just more of a straightforward thing that we could give. But yeah, I think heard on the power thing, and I feel it too.
Cool, appreciate that. Mini note on major bosses. Why did you guys remove the insta revive on the life orb boss and remove a life orb?
In the
major bosses that spawn day 3, night 3, the major bosses, the last thing that spawns, the life orb boss, it doesn't insta revive anymore. Like, you can't pick up like an instant revive after you kill it, and it has one less life orb.
I thought that change was coming in this patch. It's already in this. So okay. Well, never mind. It's fine. I think at least the res, some of the res things. I mean, I'd be curious if you have a preference there, but like I think some of the auto res stuff has been. So you're talking about. Sorry, I'm thinking about two different rules right now. Say the rule that you're talking about right now.
Okay, so
one more time for me.
Yeah, the major boss. I think it's called major bosses. You have Bubbles, you have Nardheart, and you have Life Orb boss. And from what I'm getting, the consensus is that Life Orb boss was like kind of the weakest out of all them. And when suddenly that one out of all those 3 got nerfed, felt a little bit weird. Because, like, sure, sometimes, most of the cases, you don't even use the insta-res and 2 Life Orbs. Doesn't really feel that powerful because it's easily stopped. But a lot of people...
We're updating this, yeah.
Okay, so like, is it coming back? Okay.
We are changing it. Take a look and let me know what you think. Yes, it is a little strange, but this is why we actually did another objectives pass, and we did a slight rewards pass too. So yeah, take a look and see what you think. But agree, it's a little weird.
Okay, so it's coming, something.
Yeah, so just to say it, because I think there's like some confusion around in the chat too. Basically, what we've been thinking about has been like, with the auto res, it can feel like should you take it? Is it useful? And so what we've been talking about is changing it to a reward that you can actually leverage. So that's why I'm like, I'm just mentioning there's an objectives pass that we're doing.
Yeah, noted. Appreciate that. Good stuff. Let's see. Clarity, field collaboration, gold, minimap, team HUD. Yeah, I've heard like good stuff about all these stuff. So good clarity, good field calibration, team communication also. A lot of stuff. A funny note on the ping thing. Add a chat message for each ping wheel option. Sometimes it looks like you're toxic because you do the question mark ping and then the question mark appears a ping and it looks like you're writing question mark in chat. So
well, you are, aren't you?
well, yeah. So like, it's a funny thing.
Tom caught being toxic on stream.
I promise, guys. I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I promise. But yeah, good changes overall. This is all like nice. Also, like appreciate the open thing about. Oh, what the? I clicked out. Did I go there? With cosmetics things. But yeah, then we kind of get more over to the bonus stuff. You want to start? Want to start with trios, or want to move like other general stuff first? You can like choose where you want to go.
Let's start with trios. You mentioned it. Let's do it.
You can start with trios. So, first of all, the questions a lot of people like might not have read it, but have like general confusion about what is happening with trios. So, why do TC choose to make massive changes such as trios without community input or testing? So some people are feeling that, with these kind of changes that are kind of just happening and forced that it like being forced into the game, where you guys are playtesting different changes with what will happen, like specifics around it. But like when you early come out, say you making the game with people, they kind of like feel betrayed that they don't hear about it before it's like, now this is happening with the game. I personally understand the change, but people just want more context around choices and why certain things are happening,
Yeah, I mean, I think this has been a long-standing conversation, not trios, but actually a couple of different things when it comes to like queues, competitive integrity, queue times, game health. All that stuff has been talked about ad nauseum in the community, right? And I think one thing that we can all agree on, even if we disagree on whatever decisions we would make across all of those things, is that at some point you have to make a hard call. And I think it is very understandable that, you would want to, it's easy to say, hey, I want, like great queue health and all of the types of queues that I want and great competitive integrity and great matchmaking and all of these things, right? But like at some point you have to make a trade-off. And I think if you don't clearly make the hard call, it can feel like, everyone's like, oh, I can have it all then. And it's like, actually, no. And I don't want to put that decision on the community, because the community, that's not the community's job, I don't want to make them feel like they have to own that decision. Let me be the bad guy, honestly. And I think when it comes to the things that people have been asking for the most, I think it's kind of boiled down to a couple of different things that are all kind of interrelated with each other. And so when we talked about it, we were like, okay, let's make the hard call of if we do believe inherently that the game really one could stand being honestly more competitive across all those variety of things in combat, in combat clarity, in ranked and unranked splitting. There's a couple of different vectors that we were just like, if we pair these changes together, overall, is the game more competitive? Can we take it in that way, so that everyone has like a better competitive environment? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's make these changes. So I think instead of having the community feel like they have to like do their best to like, make cases for each of these things, I think the reality is let's not have the community feel like they have to like heart-wrenchingly like, write large essays to figure out whether or not this is the right choice or not. And then let's take the game in this direction. I do think, for what it's worth, like the ranked unranked conversation has been one of the most important in some ways for me, because I do think a lot of the things we've talked about has been, hey, are there ways we can make the ranked environment better and higher quality? You know, from and unranked feeling more of that, like, hey, I can just get reps and enjoy the game and have fun with my friends. You know, like I think it's been hard for us to kind of create those environments for people. And so I think being able to do this now is going to make that honestly easier for us. And I think that's been something that players have been really looking for too. So yeah, that's the main reason why we're doing it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. On the follow-up, in contrary, for this the mix between focusing on the new player experience, as you guys have talked about, it's important to get people into the game because it doesn't seem like the retention is as high as it was before. The question around that is, how will you be compensating lowering the game depth with trios compared to 4-man for keeping the longevity of the people that have been playing it for a while and feel like the complexity of the game is being dumbed down a bit?
I mean, there's two things I'll say. One is I think we're working on something. So I do think from like I think you want to create a layer of strategy that there's a couple. Yeah, I will say that there's at least two things that we're working on that I think will inject more depth to compensate. One is going to be universal to the characters. It's not going to be character specific that we're looking at. One that kind of is. Yeah, I'm also hemming and hawing on this, on how much to talk about. This is actually related to when I was talking about I forget when we were mentioning this, but basically, okay, here's what I'll say. Yes, we must compensate for that to some degree. It is not the only reason we're working on an additional depth of like layer for the game. I think Supervive needs more session to session depth, and so that's why we're looking into this problem space anyways. But yeah, I don't disagree with that. So yeah, the other thing I'll mention here, this is what I'll say. If we want to inject more depth into the game, while also making sure that characters are something that the average player can learn and not feel overwhelming at the beginning, we will want to have a more long-term session-to-session depth valve. And so I don't think it's going to be like make the kits like crazier. I think that's not where we're going to go. I think what we'll probably want to do is think about the combinatorics of characters with other things like items in the map. So I think that's where our head is going. I think a lot of folks have talked about how items feel a little flat. I think people have talked about how the map can feel kind of homogenous. And so those are kinds of spaces that we're thinking about in terms of injecting more depth into the game. So that is what I will say. I will not elaborate further, but that is kind of the idea that we're kind of rolling around and we're doing a lot of experiments with.
Appreciate that a lot. Always excited to see what the new changes will be about. Almost safe leaked, but will stay locked for now.
That is as much as I'm going to leak, because that's yeah.
But yeah, to keep the thing on trios in general, thank you for that again, once again, with the input. Appreciate that. People are wondering why you keep Arena 4-player then. If you're going heavy into trios, like being the only mode, squads and duos being removed, why is Arena staying 4 versus just going 3-man Arena game?
Sorry, say the question again?
Why is Arena staying 4v4 rather than going into 3v3 because of trios now becoming a thing in April?
I'm actually down for opinions on this, actually. I mean, we didn't change Arena because, I mean, it's not something that... Arena is kind of its own separate thing, and so changing Arena just because of BR didn't seem like it would make sense to arena players. I mean, if arena players also feel like it makes sense for us to change to trios, I'm down. We were like, do arena players want that? I'm not totally sure.
That's a good question. At least from what I'm hearing, people would love 3v3. It's like the connection, as you're saying, like arena not being a main thing. But from what I'm hearing, and also personal opinion, is that it's a very good mix going back and forth, like a warm-up tool, a debrief tool, like playing with your squad as you usually play with when you have that like main part, and being able to just jump back and forth between those queues and not having like the sudden up and down with players feels a little bit, will probably feel a little bit off. So being able to play the same thing via both sessions will help a lot. But yeah, that's what I've heard. If somebody's hard disagreeing, they can also let us know.
Seeing some, there's some people are the people seem unsure. That's what I'll say. I'm reading. Yeah. I think there's openness to it on either side actually. For this one, we don't. So like honestly, for this one, I would be interested in player preference here.
Run a poll, guys! Run a poll! No.
Yeah, honestly, I'm into it. I'm into it.
And actually, Nimano, if you can you just like run the poll on silent just to see like if it's like close or if it's like a general, because this would be fun to just have on the side.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, so on the topic of trios again, we mentioned it earlier with restrictions. What are your guys' then thoughts on now that ranked and unranked will be split? How will you also be working with the restrictions with higher MMR like Grandmaster Plus? Will it still be duo queue restriction? Will it be solo queue restriction? Have you guys like nailed that down?
We haven't changed our thought on the duo restrictions yet. But I'm also like they're working it out literally right now. So yeah, I would say like I would wait for the whole like trios breakdown and this is what the rules that's going to be. But as of now, we haven't changed the intention of changing the rules. But yeah, I mean, I'm also down to hear people's thoughts on that.
Well, personal opinion, I really enjoy playing with people. Like playing solo queue can be just very tiresome. I always like to have a duo partner to play with, just for the mental sanity at points. So I think I personally would probably be less inclined to grind ranked if I'm forced to play solo. I would probably still do it just because I love the game, but I just prefer playing duos at least if I need to be locked down a number. But I can also see the problems with it, being trio and how it can be interacting with the solo guy that gets paired with it. It was an easier thing with squads 2-2, like the mix, but yeah.
I think.
Yes, Nimano, 4v4 with the 3v3 arena. Yeah, sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for you to be able to play with your duo partner too. So I'm a little reticent to change it, but yeah, I think what we could do is just watch and see how players are feeling and soak a little bit. And if we want to change range restrictions afterwards, we can. But yeah.
Also, then coming in question here related to ranked, are they looking into changing the way KP works in ranked, or are they happy with the current team wipe system? Like getting any safe leaks?
No. No safe leaks today. Actually, what I will say is, here. Here's another safe leak. We're changing it. It is with player feedback in mind, so I don't think people will be surprised by the changes that we have. That's all I'll say. But yes, we are changing it. That's it. No, you can't get more out of me, man. Don't you dare.
Yeah, unless anybody else has any specifics they want to like ask in form of trios, then that was my list that I've gotten, and then I have like a lot of bonus stuff. But if you want to keep the trios theme going, then feel free to ask trio questions right now before we go to bonus section. Yeah, Tracy, you can also just DM me if you have something. There came a big one. Is there a reason you guys have taken such a big swing like TRIOS instead of a more gradual or step-by-step approach? I think Saros patch was one of the best and most stable there has been since beta launch. In my personal opinion, the game was in a great spot to start adding stuff and just super solid state. Making such a big change from the outside feel like a step backwards. I understand the problems you're trying to solve, but get the reasoning for needing such drastic and sudden changes, I assume, at the end there.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I also feel good about the game state, and I've been getting a lot of love. I've been reading a lot of posts on it, so it's really great for us to see it. At the same time, we're like the problems that you see and understand we're trying to solve are really real, and like I think the longer we don't address, when is the right time to split ranked and unranked? It's like hard to say, right? Like maybe we have different opinions on that, but like I think when there isn't a clear answer, we should seek to learn. And so that's the approach we've been always taking is what's the next thing that we can learn, and how can we make sure that we're making a more competitive environment that makes sense for players and lets them enjoy Supervive more. And if we do think that the world with split ranked and trios is better, then let's give it a shot. If we think that we can do it. And so I like, if there was a reason to wait, I would have been open to it, but I don't think we had at least had a clear reason to wait for making a change like that.
Appreciate it. On the note of trios, so a good question here, because you guys will also be introducing playing without fills in trios. How will this be compensated in ranked? Will there be like more teams if certain teams like opt into not playing with players, because then you get potential less points gained in a match? Will there be like, oh, you can only not fill in unranked, or how will that be compensated like point wise?
We're working through that right now. As of currently, we don't have we don't have specific compensation rules set, but we are talking about it. Literally, we're working through that right now. Yeah.
And see through our massive poll here with 15 people, a little bit of a majority on 3v3 sounds better in arena.
Literally, there was a poll that just went.
Yeah.
I thought amazing. Okay.
But like 9-4 with the insane amount of data collected in this poll, it's the majority vote in 3v3.
I'm making a note of it right now. I'm gonna say Tom Kick stream said it, so we have to do it now.
No, that you can't do it, because then people are gonna be like, "Is this Tom Kick guy dead?"
Man, you're cooked.
Oh my god. Guys, this game is doomed. They only listen to Tom Kick. Fuck, I'm not beating the allegations.
I did see that one, and I was just like, amazing. They don't know. What they don't know is how many other people we talk to also. And then I'm gonna over time, I'm gonna start dropping more names. Don't worry. Nice. You won't be the only one.
I might beat allegations. Right. All the people in question took kicks out, GG. But yeah, to move over to more bonus question. Oh no, wait, actually, no, troll. There are some more thoughts actually beyond trios. Forgot that I didn't note because we just played it earlier today. Okay. What's the thoughts around mana changes? Personally, not a big fan of it. I haven't heard what other people think yet about it because I haven't had time to read anything. But has there been like feedback about mana where you feel like there's new things that need to be explored in mana, or the reason why it's tested out here?
Yes, there are. That is part of the fireside chat, so I will talk through it. I would say wait for the context, but I think just generally speaking, mana is, it's always been one of those spaces that I've gotten so much feedback around over the years, where we've seen like, hey, mana isn't, mana matters until it doesn't, should mana exist? How do you want to like approach mana in a fast-paced game like Supervive? And so I do think what I would wait for the full breakdown on mana and how we're thinking about it. But those are the kinds of callouts that we've been thinking about when making the mana changes. So yeah.
Is this like a guaranteed thing to come with a patch in April, or is it like depending on player feedback, adjustments on how it's working?
I mean, we'll take any and all feedback from the playtest. I'm curious what you guys ran into. As always, like just to say it, I know you know, but like, well, we're always reading and we're always listening. So like, I'm down to hear it all.
Well, yeah, some people have been commenting about the boots. I imagine if this change goes through, of course, you're going to have to rework meditation boots. But yeah, we'll see if other people has to cut this. But personal opinion after testing it just today, of course, is that some hunters will feel a lot worse because of being able to gain mana back. I don't mind having to risk more mana for like building mana items to do that. For example, like playing KP today, using a full combo in a team fight and then having 0 mana. And then like, okay, how do I get it back? Out of combat. But then hunters that are melee or short range getting out of combat, being able to get that back is really, really rough. So then needing to compensate by either then building mana items will hurt the hunter by not being able to play into the kit. I think it's very boring, personally, to just always have mana by standing still. So people that are range, Ceph, Celeste, etc., being able to just throw out abilities, wait 2-3 seconds, get full mana, and like rinse and repeat, kind of ruins the flow of battle and kind of just like dip in and out. And it changes drastically the style of how hunters interact with each other.
Yeah, the rule is actually not out of combat. It's 4 seconds after. Specifically, let me. Right now, we're looking at after 4 seconds after spending any mana. Mana regen is paused. That was what you played with today. But I think what I'm hearing is that was not. Well, we didn't talk about it for this playtest because that wasn't the focus of the playtest. But yeah, yeah, I see why you also thought it might be out of combat.
Yeah, because when you're in there, you're kind of forced to use abilities, and if you're not using abilities in there, then like I can get it, like getting back, but then standing in the fight, not using abilities, makes sense. It works that way, but kind of becomes the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of cases. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it more, but it is something where I'm like, we've been talking about the amount of like, is that dipping out happening anyways, and people pressing like chugging like 5,000 like potions to like come back and then do their rotation again. Is it kind of just like that with more steps? Has been something that we've gotten a lot of feedback on, and some people being like, yeah, like I just build mana items and then I just don't care anymore. And so like does it feel vestigial? And so, yeah, I mean, those are the kinds of things that we've been thinking about with the mana changes, but yeah, open to more takes as we soak on the changes. That makes sense. In April, I think we'll want to try something that answers those questions a little bit more. So, yes, we are interested in exploring this, but yeah, again, like I'm down to hear more of like where it felt like it was like frictiony. So you were mentioning a couple of specific hunters that ran into that problem more than others. Was it mostly the support characters, or were there others?
Well, like playing Kingpin and Felix and trying to get into and using either combos to get into fights and then, quickly running out of mana, being then either forced to build mana items and struggling to get out of fights to be able to get that back.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Noted. I will talk through it with them.
Also, mini note here. Also on TRIOS, notes having 4 gold armors in the POI doesn't feel good since I'm gifting a gold armor to a random team. Now, since you're playing Trio, there's areas where you can get 4 golds, 2 in vault, 2 in boxes.
Yeah, we're probably making that change. We have that change noted. It's like we're gonna go from 4 to 3. yeah, we have that note. But yeah.
Good. All right, anybody has any trio notes, or we move to the bonus section?
Ooh.
A lot of different variations of themes.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I'll also say about the whole mana change too is, and maybe this is already like talking fireside stuff, but like I think a lot of the conversation around like spamminess of abilities or how much damage people do in Supervive right now has been also a pretty long-standing topic, and so I think what we've also wanted to do for a while with a bunch of combat changes is to make combat feel a little bit more intentional with some of these changes also. So for what it's worth, I do think there will be some change aversion with these changes because of that, because before you had all the optionality in the world, and I think with some of the dash changes, with some of the gliding changes, with some of the mana changes, even it will mean that you are experiencing more resource attrition than you did before, and that is, some of that is intentional. But yeah, it is meant to address some of the pain points that people were feeling on that other end too. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It seems clear for now. So, a little bit of a bigger topic. Balance versus features versus bug fixing. What is the balance that you guys have between developing features and fixing bugs?
People-wise, like time-wise?
I don't know. That's the question I got.
I mean, we're a pretty small team, so like like most large teams have like, I don't know, like our sized team for each space, and we don't work like that. We're like very jack of all trades. Everyone is generally helping each other out in all three of those spaces, so it's a little different here. I will say that since we went live, we have like specialized a little bit more to focus more on life balance. That's actually why you see a lot more balance changes than previously, because we've been kind of shifting our focus to that, and because like there's so much more information like in terms of how people are playing the game on live right now, so it's clear what we can address. But yeah, I think balance has been more of a focus, and more of an immediate one. Bug fixing has always been one of those like evergreen things. I think because our game is like very sandboxy, I think a lot of people there's like a whole host of, hey, I found how to do this crazy thing. Did you realize that I could do this crazy thing? We should probably not have this really crazy thing in the game. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I totally hear you. And at the same time, like one of the things what we love about this game is that it is really sandboxy. And so we designed this game wanting to have more open-ended interactions and allow you to like try a lot of different things instead of saying no from the onset and then like not like design any of that possibility out. But it does mean like people run into some crazy stuff, like the grapple hook. I then travel into the air, like into Narnia, because I figured out how to do that with momentum. And I showed Talish the other day, and he was like, "Oh no!" I think like Libra was just showing him that, and he's like, "I see." So we would always rather say yes to the player. But yeah, I think obviously there are some bug fixes that we do want to prioritize so that, especially in a competitive environment, that people don't run into those issues. I will say that, like one of the pain points with bug fixes too is like sometimes I'll also call out, this is me requesting something, is sometimes I'll hear about stories and then I won't get the footage. So please, the only ask I have is please give me clips. I've gotten a bunch, but sometimes I'll hear about stuff that I don't quite understand. So yeah, always appreciate that.
Spam the clip channel, all the clips,
yeah,
good and bad. So, question related to that with no bug fixes and features, etc. Like one famous bug becoming a feature, being able to run double off blade, same type, like double tech blade, double mana blade, double tech mana. Do you guys have a plan for making that more accessible, or will it stay like the kind of like a small feature that isn't really intuitive but people know about that they like?
We're doing a kind of like redesign of the store right now. So I think what we'll do is just we have a couple of different ideas, some great community suggestions too on how to like support that in the future. So I think what we'll probably want to do is make it a first class citizen in the shop update. So yeah.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Question more into the competitive theme. What are your mid/long-term goals for the game in general, and is there a vision for competitive long-term, and how will this be supported?
Yeah, I mean, we already posted our 2025 plans in Discord, so just to reiterate some of that stuff, it's like we wanted to make sure that we could have like more tournament like support to anyone who wants to run a tournament, and giving them the resources to do that from a reward standpoint. So if you haven't seen that already, check it out. We're in the space of encouraging any third-party tournament organizers to just go for it. I think that's the main way we want to engage in that for now, as we kind of focus on making sure that the game is making the right amount of progress. So that's why we're not managing both, because we're focusing on the 1.0 launch and also the live updates themselves. Because doing those two, I mean, back to your point around how do you balance live game updates and then also future facing things, it's like, and bug fixing, it's like, yeah, well, that's how we focus on, if we can focus on the game, that makes it easier for us to make progress on all those things. So
because on the topic of like third party and supporting, also asking for access to API for tournaments, for score tracking, and being able to run stats and stuff for like quicker pace for tournaments and being able to run more smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, would love to. We actually got I got some good custom games like suggestions too. I think Gugu also sent a great list. I got a list, I think, from a couple of different people. I think the thing that we're talking about is before 1.0, prioritizing some of those requests so that when 1.0 happens and people want to like run larger scale tournaments, that we can do that and take advantage of those things. So that's how we'll probably prioritize it. So yeah, just for what it's worth, I think we're gonna make sure that some of that stuff is in for 1.0. We might not get to it like this next patch, but that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, because on the theme of like 1.0 and supporting around this, a question around features and suggestional things to do into custom games. One of the things the EU community did recently was testing out the match point format, which hasn't been done in...
Yeah, that was cool.
Like the general feedback is like people love the idea of the system and has potential to be like kind of a benchmark of how this game can be played competitively. The main problem that people are running into is no like targeting and how it worked on match point, because everybody knows who everybody is. So being able to turn off names, but then still being able for the viewers to see those names, but none of the teams see names, and also random colors. So the random element,
both of those requests. Yep. Noted on both, and did hear about that from the match point. So yeah, makes a ton of sense.
Cool. Appreciate that. Let me see where I'm on the list here so I don't skip anything. Yes, so a little bit away from the competitive aspect, some interactions, like smaller niche things. Some Bishop players feeling frustration around how the punch works. For example, if you punch somebody, you punch a KP, and that KP after getting punched dashes, then it negates the effect of the punch into walls. You can kind of just stop the momentum for the punch by dashing. Do you guys feel like that interaction?
Oh yes, I have that note. I'm following up on that whole set of bugs. My understanding is, yeah, it's a little tricky, but yeah, we're looking at it right now.
Good.
Yeah. I would say that space is like not that easy, but
yeah.
We're looking at it right now.
Cool. Another question. More tanks soon? There's a lot of questions around, the dynamic between hunters and how you can build compositions. One being like Oath being like a staple kind of tank, but also being extremely good because he deals so much because he's dealing so much damage at the same time. Have you guys are you guys exploring the space of having tanks playing more around being just a brute boy, doesn't need to deal damage, maybe around CC, utility, or those kind of stuff without needing to deal a lot of damage? Or does that go against like the 1vx kind of theme that you guys like in general?
Yes. Yes, we are exploring that right now.
Cool. So on the then topic of Hunter, we know there's coming a support Hunter in April. Then we haven't gotten any more news. Have you guys set a timeline of how often you want to keep the monthly Hunters and how many more we can expect of releases of Hunters throughout this year?
We're continuing the monthly cadence, so no changes to that.
For how long?
I think I mean, certainly we're talking about continuing it until 1.0. I'm being cheeky about it because we do have it all. We have the schedule figured out quite a bit, like past the April character. The reason I'm being cheeky about it is actually because I want to figure out if there's honestly just like a sustainable thing for like a schedule for our characters team. They've been going pretty hard on it, so like just to be frank, like I want to understand if there's ways we can supplement some time for them to kind of take a breather. But yeah, I do think the foreseeable future, like even past the April launch, you're going to see monthly releases for a while. So
damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Hunters. Big.
It is a lot. And that's the other thing too, is like this is the other reason why we want to do it, is because, back to the trios conversation, like it having different combinatorics really helps with the depth of the game, and so having more hunter variety also helps with that. So I think having a roster that's like big enough to support that is helpful. So I think from that perspective, we want to make sure that there's good hunter variety.
Yeah, on that topic of hunters and testing in the background, like people know there was a test back in the days where you got to test now Saros, Krista, and Bibo. Do you guys plan on not only for hunters having more eternal locked tests for people to be able to test hunters, but also future updates being more like integrated with what the changes are? Because now it's kind of like gone away from that. There's a lot more open feedback, but how do you guys feel about the closed test behind the scenes with the community?
Okay, I'll be real about the closed tests. I feel mixed about the closed tests. And the reason I feel mixed about it is because I think there was a lot of great feedback that would come in from the closed tests, but then there was also some amount of people being like, hey, like, this is my perception of the closed test. And then people didn't play, who didn't play would use that as like their first look into these changes before, them being able to play and then form their own opinion. And so it became like this weird soft gatekeeping type situation for a lot of people, which I think for the folks who couldn't make it to the closed playtest, that soured their experience, and that didn't feel great to them. And so, you know, I got a lot of feedback around like, hey, like we didn't hear about these changes, what gives? You know, like, hey, like I wanted to try the changes, what gives? And so that's actually why we changed to an open feedback format, especially since the game is live and it's not NDA'd. Being able to get feedback from a wider variety of players, especially, seemed like a good thing. And I do think, for what it's worth, like that's been positive. You know, it does mean, to your point, like we've moved away from like more early look stuff because of that. I would love to share more early look stuff, but that is the tension, I think. I think for maybe hunters will consider doing it again. We're talking about it on like honestly, but that's the thing I'm trying to be cognizant of, is like what feels good to the wider community too, so that we're not like leaving them in the dust. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, the honesty about it. And with that, I've gone through all of the notes that I've gone from at least the EU community that I've been speaking to. Appreciate taking the time, and now it's kind of just call it an open floor if people have some random questions now, depending on how long time you have. I don't know, like how available you are.
I can take a few. Let's do a few.
Yeah, down to do a few. People shoot your questions. This is where Safelocked will be leaking. Safe leaking.
No,
I mean,
no
like...
safe leaking.
This is a safe space, okay? I'm shooting. Roadmap potentially? Question mark.
We are talking about some roadmap stuff in the next fireside, so pretty soon.
Can you just ask if the EU survey is useful to them? So Kizaru made like an EU server, a survey from that server. Have you guys seen it? Is it useful?
Sent me it over DM. I have looked at it a little bit, but I have not yet gone through it with the team. So I need to do that. I have a lot of different essays I need to also look at. So, but yes, we will look through it and make sure it gets to the team. I usually make a full community thread. Actually, I'm actually usually I do it at 3 p.m. to take a look at everyone's feedback on. I'm just looking at on Discord for the latest patch, and so Kizaru, of course, I also read your guys' stuff too. So, but definitely there's always a lot. So want to make sure I get to everyone.
Is 1.0 still set for 2025?
1.0 is still set for 2025. Yes.
I don't know if you also see anything interesting that you want on, so you can like, I don't like decide what is being asked. Who's the best community and why is it France?
True. No, I'm just I can't be saying that talking to Tom. That's crazy.
No,
crazy...
like the Norwegian community is big. It's like me. It's like Arcane. It's Sinnoh. Like it's big. It's like massive. The Norwegian community.
France is very strong, though. I will say France got presence. Let's see. I think there's a lot of marketing callouts. I feel like people ask about marketing a lot. So just to say it, like, you know, we're like this. I kind of think about this as like our own walled garden of Supervive right now, and we're trying a lot of different things to based off of just like our understanding of the live environment. But you know, because of that, I think right now we've been more focused on trying, like, experimenting and learning quickly and getting the game to a really good state. And so marketing will come after that. I think what we want to do is make sure that the marketing is really positioned for 1.0 on. So I would say, yeah, like it's not in our best interest probably to pour a bunch of marketing in right now. There's probably a better time to do it, which is 1.0 on. The Scottish community.
It's big.
Let's go. Let's go, dude. I think everyone's vibing now. Everyone's vibing.
Good vibes.
Yeah, well, I think anything that goes into more like marketing or creator support and things like that, we'll be talking about that more and working towards that for 1.0. So yeah, keep a lookout for it.
God, this is a big one. Replay mode?
Replay mode. I'm gonna focus on the things that currently I mean, we already talked about customs and how we can make for better Scrim environments and maybe even API stuff. So I think we'll probably want to focus on making sure the competitive environment itself has you know, more knobs as opposed to things like replay mode. But I appreciate it.
How hard can it be to make a replayed system?
It took League about 2.5 years, and they regret it. So, for what it's worth, you heard it here. Cool.
Cool. If you're happy, I'm happy.
I'm happy.
This was also, once again, appreciate you taking the time to answer like a bunch of questions, even how many you might have answered 1,000,000 times already, some new, some old,
dude.
all the same. But a lot of people appreciate being able to hear from the devs. You know, you guys are very good at being at the Discord and chatting and being available. Not easy for everybody to see, but trying to help everybody give more access to information and your guys' thoughts and progression of how things are looking out. Love the game. I want to see it succeed.
Dude, same. Thank you for having me. It's always awesome to talk about the game with you. So these are really fun for me. So even if a couple times safe leaks happened, I appreciate it. I do it every time. So.
Anybody has notes on how many safe leaks we got today? That's good. Appreciate it. You'll have to probably have to scout the NA test. Is probably happening for the trios right now, I assume.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take a look and then peek into Discord and see how it's going.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and you have a lovely rest of your day. I'll be catching you around.
Yeah. See you guys. Good seeing you.
Bye, Safelocked. Bye.
Bye.